what we know about organic compounds is that they're a lot more complicated with a lot more atoms than inorganic compounds. The other thing about organic compounds is they are primarily carbon and hydrogen, as hydrocarbons is the main chemical reaction they undergo is combustion reactions. So combustion is burning in the presence of oxygen. We also know that organic compounds are what run reactions in biochemistry and biology. So how is it that these organic compounds that pretty much only undergo combustion reactions run all the reactions in human metabolism? It's not burning reactions in metabolism. It's not combustion reactions. These are reactions that are not only involving carbons and hydrogens, but other atoms that are present in what are called functional groups. So functional groups are arrangements of atoms that are not carbon and hydrogen, usually adding in some oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, or even just a double bond or triple bond or lone pair of electrons.
In an organic molecule, when you're looking at the ball and stick model or the molecular view, the functional groups will stand out because they're different atoms that are typically going to be these different colors. Carbon atoms are these that are black atoms, and hydrogens are these that are white. Okay, so the majority of an organic molecule will be black and white, but then a small portion will have oxygen. These are shown as red, or nitrogen. These are shown as blue. Now these are oxygens and nitrogens in these inorganic compounds that we've seen, carbonate, nitrate, ammonia, and water, but these are also going to be atoms in organic molecules. And those atoms are important because they impart important chemical properties. That's the function of the enzyme or the function of the protein, and also physical properties.
For the biological catalyst for an enzyme, the majority of the structure of the enzyme is carbon and hydrogen, and it's a specific shape. So that can be hundreds or thousands of carbons in a scaffold structure. Okay, and then you have just the small part where the action happens, and that's called the active site. And so the structure allows for a specific set of reactants to come in, and then in the active site there's going to be at least one functional group that allows for the reaction to happen. Thinking about an enzyme being mostly carbon and hydrogen that is not reactive, and then just a very small part where the reaction happens, is like thinking about a college campus. You've got all the buildings, you've got the fountains and the trees in the parking lot, but the education only happens in a small part, just in the classroom. All the other portions of the campus are completely necessary, but the purpose of the campus, the purpose of the college, is for education, and that only happens in a very small part. So that's the same thing with an enzyme. You have a lot of it that is not reactive, but that is completely necessary to allow for the reaction to happen in this very small section. And so in that enzyme, in that small section, you will have that functional group that is the site of the chemical reaction, which is the purpose of that, the whole function of the entire enzyme. It's often shown that this functional group, being the most important part of the organic molecule, is that just the functional group is indicated, and the rest of the molecule, though it may be hundreds or thousands of atoms that are carbon and hydrogen atoms, those are just kind of clumped together and designated as R, which stands for the rest of the molecule. That this functional group is the most important part of the molecule from the reaction standpoint. And so it's the one that stands out, and we'll be looking at the functional groups that are common in organic molecules. There are 7 main functional groups that we'll be focusing on. So these have different atoms like an oxygen or a nitrogen or a double bond or a lone pair of electrons. These are going to be looking at the names as well as the structures and the condensed structural formula, and also adding the name endings that we'll see in the IUPAC naming of the organic molecules. The overview first, and then we'll go into each individually and also be filling out the worksheet along the way. But there's alcohol, ether, aldehyde, ketone, carboxylic acid, ester, and amine. also adding these that we've seen before.
Benzene is the 6-carbon ring with 3 double bonds, and there's resonance between those 3 double bonds. So this can be here, and it's typically shown as collectively the 6-carbon ring with a circle in it. So that's the benzene ring. Is not necessarily a functional group, but it is important as the starting point for the structure being this flat disk, the starting point of many drugs and medications. The alkene group is the ENE ending is a carbon with a double bond. Okay, and this is also going to be important for structures where you have the double bond can be the site of a chemical reaction. The alkyne group, the YNE ending, means that this is a triple bond. So the ENE ending is a double bond. And the YNE ending is indicating a triple bond. And both the double bond or the triple bond can be sites of a chemical reaction like a functional group, but these are sites of a chemical reaction due to the double or triple bond, not because of a different atom.